Hey guys, today's video is about installing a reverse camera on a 2009 Toyota Camry. The principle is similar for other Camry models as well, and these are the steps you need to make. First is to find the camera that you're going to purchase. There's various types of cameras on the market. There's wireless ones, there's wired ones, there's ones that connect with Bluetooth and whatnot. In my experience, the wired ones tend to work better in terms of their reliability and the quality of picture that you receive on your unit at the front. This particular camera that I've got here, which I'm going to replace today, is a wireless one. So this is a Garmin reversible camera, which actually does connect to your 12-volt power in your reverse light, but the way it conveys the signal to the GPS, the Garmin GPS in this case, is through a Bluetooth connection. And I've had it for a few years, and originally it was fine, but over time the quality has deteriorated and I'm no longer happy with the quality of picture received from it. Plus, as you've seen in the previous video, I recently installed a new head unit on this Toyota Camry, and I'm going to mount a camera that's compatible with that particular head unit, so I don't have to carry a Garmin GPS in my car anymore. The first step you need to undertake once you've found the camera you're going to use is to try and find the appropriate mounting position. In my experience, this particular mounting position works well. As you can see, it's just under the Toyota logo. It's approximately in the middle of the number plate, and it will be easier for you to center and adjust it later on. Once you've found the appropriate mounting area, you need to establish how you're going to pass the wiring of the camera to inside the vehicle. Most of the times you need to drill a small hole, as you might be able to see I've done here. What I have not done, and what you should do once you've drilled a hole, is to properly deburr it and add a rust protectant. Once you've drilled the hole, the next step would be to establish the route that the wiring is going to take to the inside of the vehicle. So what we are going to do next is to go on the inside of the car, pop the boot, and have a look what's going on inside. As you might be able to notice, the hole that we've made previously, it goes somewhere around here. What you need to do is to undo these rivets so you can get inside here and see how the wiring is routed. You might be able to see here that it connects to the 12-volt power that goes to the reverse light, which is this particular light here. But what we'll do next is get a flathead screwdriver, undo these rivets, and then we can get a better idea of how the wiring's proceeding to the inside. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, I've removed the number plate and the previous reverse camera that I had, and I've also undone some of these rivets to allow access for the reverse camera wiring to go through to this particular side reverse light, through which we're going to connect the wiring of the reverse camera to, so it gets power when the reverse light gets power, and that's when you put your gear shift in reverse. Then we're going to pass the wiring through under this rivet down here, and through here we're going to pass it inside the car. Of course, you could do the same thing on the left side as well, exactly the same process. You just have to undo the rivets on that side, pass the wiring through, connect it to the 12-volt wiring here, and then pass it through from the left side of your vehicle, so when you're facing it from the rear. So either way you could do it. Now, the camera that I've got is the one that's compatible with my head unit. It's a Chinese product. I'll put a link on the description, but essentially it's relatively inexpensive. I think it's around $15 or $20. And yeah, I ordered it at the same time I ordered my product. In fact, they actually gave it to me for free, so that was very kind of them. It's been very good. The same camera I've had in my Mitsubishi Pajero now for probably over a year. I've done like several dozen thousand kilometers on it all over Australia. Been on beaches, bitumen everywhere, sand, rocks, whatever, absolutely no problem. And the picture quality is excellent. In fact, it's better than the picture quality I ever had with my Garmin camera. So highly recommend it. Absolutely no problems with it at all. As I said, I will put a link in the description, and especially if you're going to purchase similar head unit, I'd highly recommend getting the camera at the same time. But yeah, we'll just unbox the camera. What I'll do is just position the camera here, pass the wiring through here, and just try and sort of bring it inside, and then make the connection with this power lines to the reverse light. So I'll show you how I do it. There's other ways to do it, but I'll show you how I do it, and we'll go from there. Okay, just a quick side note. I just had to increase the size of the hole to pass these two little yellow and red components of the reversing camera through. In hindsight, I probably, if I didn't have the previous camera, I probably wouldn't have made the hole this large and would have probably just passed the wiring through one of these number plate lights holes. But since I already had a hole here, which was probably already around 9mm in size, so I just ended up enlarging it a little bit. Before proceeding further, it would be a good idea to get a rust preventative and get some sandpaper. Just deburr the hole a bit and just add a rust preventative to prevent any future rust from occurring there. Okay, so as you can see, I've passed the reverse camera wiring through the hole that we drilled earlier. From outside the car in through here. You might have to slip your hand in and guide the wiring as it comes inside. So just guide it out through here. And with this particular camera, that's how the wiring ends for the actual camera itself. The other part of the wiring is what's connected to the head unit, and it's coming from inside the car. And we've just brought it in here through the same hole, which is just behind the right rear seat, if you're in the driver's seat, through this particular hole here. So it's just coming in through here. I passed it through underneath this cover, and I brought it up here. Later on, I'll show you how I'll guide it inside the car to the head unit. But here we are. We just got to connect the red to the red, yellow to the yellow, which is the simpler part. The slightly trickier part is connecting the wiring to the wiring of the reverse light. So first thing's obviously to identify which particular wire goes to the reverse light. In this case, it's easy because I've already done it before. But as you can see, is this particular globe here. And I'm just looking at it from underneath. What you can do if you're not sure is you can always pull the globe out, have someone put the car in reverse with the handbrake on, and make sure it lights up. But yeah, make sure you get the right globe. This particular globe here. Okay, and this is the wiring for it. So there's various ways you could do it. You could just cut and snap them together and put some electrical tape over it. You could solder them. What I tend to do, and put some heat shrink on it, what I tend to do is I use these splicing tools, which I've always used, and they work reliably for me and have never failed me. The way they work is, if you can see inside, it's got two sort of coaxial segments for the wires to pass through. So you pass the wire for the camera through one, and then in the other one will be the wire for the reverse light. So you pass them through, and you just snap this end together. So this end comes in, it just comes around, and then you put some pressure on it and it seals it, and it makes an electrical connection. So I'll show you when it's done as well, but this is how I do it, but you can do it whichever way you like. The principle is to connect the wiring for the reverse camera to the reversing lights, so when you put the car in reverse, you get the power to the reverse camera. So we'll just go ahead and do that next. Okay, so here we are. We've made the relevant connection. So as you can see, we've connected the black wire of the reversing camera to the black, or the black and white wire in this case, for the reverse globe, and the red wire to the red wire of the reverse globe power supply. So these are the two splicing tools that I've used, as mentioned before. What I'm going to do is just put some electrical tape around them just to insulate them further, and also do the same thing with these two connections that I've made with the reversing camera. So just put some tape around there. In the end, I'll probably cable tie it around with this wiring just to secure it further. But at this stage, we'll just insulate them and pass the wiring inside, connect it to the head unit, and turn the car on, put the car in reverse, and make sure everything's working okay. Okay, once everything's done at the back and we routed the wire to the head unit through the inside of the car, and now it's time to quickly test the camera and make sure everything's working. One quick extra thing which I had to do with this particular head unit is I had to connect the wiring. So the wire for the reverse camera, as it connects into the head unit, you need to connect to the harness which goes with the other main cables, the ones with all the auxiliary inputs. So there's a little brown wire that comes out of it, and you need to connect with the reverse camera wiring harness. So just slice them together or connect them. I've just temporarily just connected them this way, but yeah, I probably put a heat shrink on and secure it with the heat gun later. But essentially now it's time to start the car. Put it in reverse and make sure it's working. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, good. All right, seems to be working. So now we can put the car back in, the gear shift back in park, camera goes off, turn the motor off, and now it's just a matter of securing everything, tidying up everything, putting everything back in place, and then I'll show you how I've routed the wiring to the head unit as well. Okay, I just wanted to quickly show you how I've passed the wiring through and finalized everything before closing things up. So this is how I put the camera. It does come in supplied with a couple of tiny screws. So I used a 2.5mm drill bit to drill a couple of holes into the body here, put the screws through, and then the camera is nice and snug. You can change the actual angle of the camera as well. There's a couple of screws here, one here on this side. You'll just need to use a tiny Phillips head screwdriver and loosen them, and then you can move it up and down as needed. Inside, the wiring, as shown before, comes through the tiny little hole there and comes through here. I've just put some cable ties, so one here, a few up here, just to cable tie it with the wiring for the reverse camera, the reverse light, just so everything stays nice and snug, doesn't move around. Put some electrical tape as well, and then this wiring going on from the reverse camera, it goes in through here. Underneath that cover comes out here. I'll put a couple of cable ties to secure it here as well, and then it goes in through here, and that's how it's going to the back of the car. Comes around here, and so if you're a right-hand drive, this is your right rear passenger car seat, comes around here, and then you just tuck it in here between this trim panel and the seat here. So you stuck it in all the way here, come down to this trim panel, tuck it underneath this one. You might need a panel removal tool or a flathead screwdriver to gently pry the panel, or you can just outright remove the panel, but you can just gently pry the panel and then just guide the wiring through here, pass it inside the seat belt, come down to the driver's seat if it's a right-hand drive, keep tucking it underneath this panel here, goes in under here, and then goes in under this panel here. Then you can just pass it in through here, and then it goes into the back of the head unit area from here. So that's the head unit there. So that's how I've done it. Now I'll just quickly put in a couple of final touches, cable tie the wiring here, and then I'll finalize the camera, set up the guidance lines, and then show you eventually how it works. Okay, so put everything back in place and tucked everything in, and now it's just time for one final demonstration of how the camera works. So essentially, start the motor, put the gear shift in reverse, the camera comes to life. You can adjust these guidance lines by going into the settings, but essentially you just got to line it up in a way that it sort of shows you the width of your car. What I used is I used these two kettle rails, as you can see on the ground, and I put them next to my front and rear wheels, and align it that way. But you can go and do it in a parking lot or anywhere that works for you. But yeah, this is essentially it. This is how it works. Good reverse camera, fairly cheap. I got it for free as the company that makes these cameras, Isudo. They kindly provided it to me for free. But it's not dear. I think it's probably around $15-20. I will put a link in description of where to purchase it from, and you can just order online. And look, as I mentioned at the start, it's probably better than any of the wireless cameras I've used before. I think the wired cameras, they do work better. The one I've got in my Pajero, which is the exact same model as this one, I've had it for well over a year and it's worked really well. So I highly recommend it. It's compatible with this particular head unit, which I highly recommend as well. There is a video for this unit on my channel as well, just from a few days ago. So yeah, good camera. This is the install. As you've seen, you can do it yourself. It just takes a bit of time and you got to be a bit meticulous. But yeah, once it's all set in place, then it will be good for a while. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.